Hi guys, good afternoon. An honor to meet you here. Let me introduce myself and my partner. I'm Heri Febriyanto and my partner is
Festy, Trisya.
we are from Widyagama Mahakam Samarinda University. Okay, we would like to talk about first language experience. So, Miss Festy, what do you think about first language experience?
The first language is controlled by hormones early in life through interaction with fellow members of society, such as family and community environment. The first language is an early process that a child acquires in recognizing sound and symbols called language. How about you?
In my opinion, first language acquisition is the process of understanding an income or production language in children. Through several stages ranging from grading to phone talk, parents and the environment have a big contribution to the acquisition of language that will be studied in formal institutions. And there are several factors that affect the acquisition of the first language in children because the acquisition of language is done informally with a very high motivation. Children need this first language to be able to communicate with the people around him.
I agree with you because there are several factors as suggested by Chomsky, Piaget, Lindbergh, and Slobin like natural factor, cognitive development factor, social background factor, and heredity factor. Natural factor in every child born with a set of procedures and language rules called language acquisition. Definition LAD because nature is natural even though the child is not stimulated to get the language, the child will be able to accept what is going on around him, and the development of language in a person along with its cognitive development both have a complementary relationship. Language acquisition in the process is aided by cognitive development, whereas cognitive abilities will develop with the help of language. So, Mr. Heri, what do you think about social background factor and heredity factor?
I think the social background factor is important too because social backgrounds include family structure and cultural environment allow for serious differences. In child language acquisition, the higher the levels of family social interaction, the greater the likelihood that family members, the children, acquire the language. Another thing that also influences in social status. Children who come from the lower socioeconomic show their vocabulary development is slightly in accordance with the circumstances of their families. And heredity factors include 1. Intelligence. The acquisition of child's language is also influenced by the intelligence of the child. The higher a person's IQ, the faster it acquires the language. 2. Personality and style, or how to acquire language. One's creativity in responding to something is crucial to the acquisition of language, the power of speech and behavior that becomes the personality of a person influence the style variance of speech. So, Miss Festy, are you now acceptable to support the first language acquisition process in children?
I think there are some methods to support the first language acquisition process in children. 1. Create a positive environment when communicating in front of children. What words the child will get at the beginning of his speech and is determined by his environment. 2. More often involving the child in the social interaction of his environment. Children who do not encounter interactive social experience in their lives so also unable to obtain the language. 3. Fix child language error. 4. Train children to speak properly. For example, mention a sentence consisting of several words, many containing the letter R, so that children are not lips. And do you know the child language development process?
The process of child language development includes 1. Phonology. Child use the sound he has learned with unlearned sound. Example, replacing learned L, already learned sound with unreviewed R sound. At the end of the catering period, the child is able to control the intonation, tone modulation, and contour of the language he or she study. 2. Morphology. At the 3 years old, the child has formed several morphemes that show the grammatical function of noun and verb use. Grammatical errors often occur at this stage because the child is still trying to say what he wants to say. The child continues to improve the language until 10 years old. 3. Syntax. Children develop the grammatical level of sentence produced through several stages, namely through imitation, through morpheme classification, and by complication by placing words together to form sentence. 4. Semantics. The child uses certain words based on similarity of motion, size, and shape. For example, the child already knows the meaning of the word clock. Initially, the child refers only to his patron's words, but then he used the word for all kinds of horse. So, Miss Festy, we talk about first language experience. And what do you think about conclusion?
The conclusion is there are some factors affecting early language acquisition in children like natural factor, cognitive development factor, social background factor, heredity factor, and acceptable method to support the first language acquisition process in children like create a positive environment when communicating in front of children, more often involving the child in the social interaction of his environment. Fix child language error, train children to speak properly, and the last the child language development process like 1. Phonology, 2. Morphology, 3. Syntax, and 4. Semantics.
Okay guys, that is a little explanation from us about first language experience. If we have a pronunciation error or anything, we say sorry and thank you very much to your attention. And goodbye.